And maybe, Jim, you could take us through where there is a bill in New York State that passed last June and is still awaiting action by the governor. Maybe you could take us through the details on that, and then I'll reflect, on what some of the questions are, and then you can get into some analysis of this.
Sure, Rick. Let's go from there. So the bill has been passed by the state legislature and the two bodies of the state legislature, and it's with Governor Kathy Hochul at this point. She hasn't made a final decision, but she has floated some proposals with regard to how she would like to see the bill modified. So let's look at some of those proposals. Her first proposal is that it would require that all patients who request life-ending medication to undergo a mental health evaluation by a psychiatrist. Her other proposal is that there be a mandating of a 7-day waiting period between the patient's request and receiving the medication to kill themselves. The bill, as passed, did not have a specific waiting period, though it does require that two physicians must sign off on the request, and those two physicians would be responsible for attesting to the idea that the person's condition is unchangeable and they are going to die within 6 months. The other amendment she would like to see made is that it would restrict the practice to New York State residents only. The other amendment she is proposing is that it would be requiring patients to videotape their requests for the medication that would kill them. And her final amendment is that the bill wouldn't go into effect until 1 year after she signed the bill.
Hmm. Well, it's very interesting that she's proposing these kinds of maybe modifications, but the overall bill obviously would still be the same. That people in the late stages of terminal illness would be able to request doctor-assisted suicide to end their lives. And obviously, the support for this is based on the idea that this would be the compassionate thing for people who are in those end stages of life. But I have two immediate questions. The first one is this truly compassionate? Is it the compassionate response? And one of the things that I go back to with this, it was a number of years ago now that the Science Committee of the American Medical Association stated that many persons initiated discussion about suicide to evaluate the degree to which others are concerned about their well being and to evaluate their own self worth. And Pope St. John Paul II, in his Gospel of Life encyclical, wrote that oftentimes request for suicide is above all a request for companionship, sympathy, and support in the time of trial, a plea for help to keep on hoping when all human hopes fail. So maybe some other questions with this, but maybe pick up on that, Jim. Do you have any reaction to that? What is the truly compassionate response?
Well, thank you again, Rick, for the handoff. Let me look at for a moment with you what the Catholic bishops had to say about the amendments proposed by Governor Hochul. What they say is that the amendments don't change the fundamental truth that this bill sanctions suicide and it diminishes medicine, meaning medicine as treatment, forever, and is guaranteed to lead to tragedies, mistakes, and unattended consequences. I want to take a half of a step back and talk about what is put out there from time to time by supporters of Kathy Hochul, and they like to say, but she's a Catholic. But what we do know about Kathy Hochul from her position on abortion is that she is not aligned with Catholic teachings on the sanctity of unborn life. Therefore, without her being grounded in the belief in the inalienable right to life, and based on her proposals related to assisted suicide, and since her priority is actually politics, her approval of assisted suicide is inevitable.